Alrighty, guys. So we understand the circumstances the Cowboys are in, but I'm really curious to see how this front office is going to actually respond, knowing that they want to try and salvage the season. So right now, you have backup quarterbacks Cooper Rush and Will Greer. Now the Cowboys are looking to add a third guy. Now there is some guys that are linked to the Cowboys. We're going to go over possible scenarios, and ultimately, like, what should Dallas do at this rate? Like, should they go after one of these guys? Should they stay put? Like, it's hard. We kind of have an indication that Cooper Rush is going to actually be starting in the next game. So, I don't know. I mean, when you're 0-2, I mean, I'll get into that in a second with the schedule. But let's start off with what you got on roster. So we know the state of your offense. You really got nothing there until Michael Gallup and James Washington come back, and now you're hoping that maybe, just maybe, they can get you over the top. But one of the key things that I think a lot of people fail to understand is that we have to kind of look at how the Cowboys are game planning. It feels like the Cowboys didn't really know what they wanted to do, specifically Kellen Moore. It was like, we want to run the ball, but we really don't. I don't know. But what I think the Cowboys need to do is offensively, I think that you kind of just have to have a simplistic game plan and just hope it works. You kind of saw last night, like, you didn't need anything fancy. I think that if you played it simple, you probably won that game, regardless of how bad these guys played. But do I think they're going to play as bad? No, but if they do again, that's a huge indictment on the coaching staff and these players. So with Cooper Rush, you kind of get the generic pocket passer that you're kind of hoping kind of doesn't lose you a game. I know a lot of people like to tout the Minnesota game, but the thing is that Minnesota game was one of those, like, once in a blue moon games, so we'll see if you got something there. But I don't need Cooper Rush to throw me 20 touchdowns. I just need you to win me some games until my quarterback gets back. Or maybe, hey, just, you probably get our offense more efficient, and maybe it's like, hey, if you're winning a couple games, you don't go back, but I doubt that's going to happen. Now, for Will Greer, I actually like Will Greer more. I think that if you're trying to emulate this offense with regard to Dak Prescott, I think that that is the way to go. Like, in terms of running the football with your quarterback mobile, that's really the way to go. My problem is that I think they want to go with Cooper Rush because he knows the offense. You can kind of make it simple for him. And he's kind of like, okay, I hope he doesn't make mistakes. But this is what kind of bothers me, is that I don't think that they can last you until the bye week. So you look at the schedule, and it's like, okay, so over these next couple games, I really think it's going to make or break how you go about it. So I would say if the Cowboys are if the Cowboys are 3-5 and 4-4, which I'm not saying they will be, and I highly doubt that, if they are that by the midway point, I think you can reinsert Dak. If they are 2-6 and worse, now you should just call it quits. There's no point in ruining your draft position. You're probably in line to get a number 1 or top 5 draft pick, which can really help you, especially if you're kind of looking at this year's to be we were looking to tank so we can get a good draft pick for the next incoming coach, which I think is going to be the plan moving forward. So if I'm the Cowboys, that's what I'm looking at. Now, some options like you saw in the thumbnail. Now, the one that's been really talked about is Cam Newton. I think that Cam is a better option than what you have now, but that's not really saying much. The other two names that I've heard floated around are Gardner Minshew and Jimmy Garoppolo. Now, to kind of compare them with a Cam Newton, I'm really not a fan of going out, and getting a Cam Newton to be your backup. I understand it's for a little bit, because I think there's no way that you're going to win games like that. I mean, I think Cam Newton is shot in terms of, like, his arm, and it's been that way for a while. So I'm not really going to bring Cam Newton in. Now, The problem is with the other two, you would have the trade, and now Gardner Minshew, he's on your rival. Like, you ain't doing that shit. But for Jimmy Garoppolo, it's intriguing because, like, Jimmy Garoppolo is one of those guys where it's like, okay, you kind of play this, you know, standard bus driver offense type of game plan, and you hope that you win games. And, you know, I think Jimmy Garoppolo would be serviceable, but my issue is giving up that draft capital for this year. You know, if we go through, let's say they go through the first 4 games and we're 1-3 or 0-4 and they trade for someone, I'm getting mad about that, because you honestly, if you cannot get to the bye week with 3 or 4 wins, which I don't think the Cowboys will have more, I think they'll just have 1 win, and they might prove me wrong. I don't know, but it just, I don't like the options that they have, and I think that, for being real with you guys, they should just roll with the guys that they have. They've touted all off season how they like their guys. They don't believe that they need to go out in free agency and add certain guys because of the talent and the chances they want to give these guys. So yeah, let these young bucks ride, and I know that, you know, we might be sitting here saying, well, you know, we're trying to salvage a season here. I mean, what is there to salvage, though? And so, you know, there are other, like, are there any other options? And it's like, I mean, not really. Like, realistically speaking, if you want the best option, you're probably going to have to trade for them. And so it's kind of like, okay, like, what kind of pick are you giving up? Like, it's okay if you give, like, a 7th round pick or a 6th round pick, because you're not going to use that for shit. But here's where I would get annoyed with it. Like, I'm okay with giving up a 6th or 7th round pick if, like, you know, you're getting a guy like Jimmy Garoppolo. Now, I know that's not going to be realistic, and I don't want people to make it seem like I'm trying to imply that's what can happen. But if you're giving up, like, a 3rd, 5th, or something of that range, I'm going to have a problem with that, because now you're just giving up the solid draft capital. But hey, listen, if you want to do that as a front office, I'm not going to hold you back on that, because this is what you guys want to do. If you want to salvage this season, now Dak Prescott's time frame was originally 6 to 8 weeks. Now it's 8 to 10. So odds are what will happen is we'll come around that Chicago Bears game and we'll see where we're at. And I would say, regardless of what your record is, don't bring the guy back until he's fully healthy. Don't. There's no incentive to do that. There's no incentive to rush. Like, you're going to seriously try to win games at this rate, and I don't know. I mean, this is going to be a huge test for this coaching staff. And unfortunately, you don't have a plan for fucked, like I always like to say. And I just don't really know what's the next option for the Cowboys at this point, other than you go hope that your guys do well, but they really haven't given an indication that they're going to sign a 3rd quarterback. I mean, why would you? Because I want you to think about this. If you're bringing a Jimmy Garoppolo, right, you're probably going to let go of, like, a Will Greer type of guy, and you kind of just go out off of that. But, I mean, there was a scenario, and I talked about this on my on the live stream with DMV, Big Game James, your guy Nick's over at I almost said Star Gang, Pick 6 Sports, and yeah, Chris from Frankly Football. The big thing is that you know, the one option was like, okay, so what happens if your team's looking good with your backups? Do you change anything? I say it depends. If we are, like, struggling offensively and we can use we could throw in Dak to see what we got, that's one thing. But, and this is what's worrying me, is that this is feeling like a 2015 year, because Romo didn't look, like, well at all at the start of the year. In fact, that entire year he looked off. But I think that Dak's going the same way, in the sense of, like, how he's treating the season. And to be real with you, the one thing I'll tell the Cowboys is that if you get to a point where you're at 0-4 or worse, tank. There's no incentive for you to keep trying to win games. Your best bet is just get a good draft pick and let's ride off of that. So I don't want to keep you guys for too long. I hope you enjoyed this little video. And yeah, you guys have a fantastic rest of your day.
you.